Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Chris with Inside the U. Number 10, Miami completely dominates in a 62-0 win over Ball State. Passing game once again led the way. Cam Ward, another huge performance, 346 yards, 5 touchdown passes, really looked impressive. And his wide receivers certainly had a big day too. Xavier Restrepo had a couple touchdowns. Also, Jacoby George goes over the 100-yard mark for the third time in his career, first time this season. And then I thought Isaiah Horton and a little bit of Sam Brown as well, the wide receivers. I'll get more into that, as well as the running game and some other observations that I had from the game in terms of the positives from the game, but also what it means big picture with this team after a 3-0 start. But first, I just want to thank everybody for jumping in on the live stream. If you didn't see it on the channel, I did a pregame warm-ups live stream, and where I just kind of focused on the team warming up, and it's definitely wasn't expected to do it, but a lot of people showed up for it. I'm going to work through some of those things to improve on it, but I like where it's going. I like the interaction before the game, and certainly shout out to everybody that was on there and that was dealing with the delay before the game, 2.5 hours with that start. And Coach Cristobal talked about his team just came out ready, and one of the messages I think that really stood out to me, to his team, which is absolutely true, and his messaging seems to be, really getting to the guys. But he said, look, the other team's got to deal with this too, so which team is going to come out of the tunnel and be ready to play? And Cam Ward and the rest of the guys, I really just keep thinking about the senior leadership that they have on this team on both sides of the ball at many position groups. It's not just the offensive side of the ball or just the offensive line or even certain places on defense or the quarterback, but it's everywhere. There's seniors that have been on this team, and I feel like, and I've said this a number of times, and I think this is what you're seeing in games like this or this 3-0 start, that regardless if guys came in from other schools or the guys that have been in this program, there's a real sense of urgency to have success. And Cam Ward talked about his wide receivers having a sense of urgency in today's game, which I thought was very true, and it was good to hear that. But I just think overall this team just has a real positive sense that every time they get an opportunity to play a game, they want to play well. And look, they completely overmatched Ball State from a talent standpoint, speed and ability. And like I said, it starts with Cam Ward. And you want to see separation from a top 10 team in the country against a team like Ball State. And that's exactly what you saw today. And look, whether you think Miami is a top 10 team based on what you've seen this year, I know a lot of people are excited about this team, and for me, regardless of what I thought about this team coming into it, regardless of what we've seen from Mario Cristobal's teams in the first 2 years here, I think things are different, and I don't know how else to put it, but what I've seen, it's the way that they're playing. It's not just that they're dominating Ball State or Florida A&M. They're supposed to do that, and obviously the Gators have their troubles as well. And maybe some of this will be proven differently based on the competition that they face as the season goes along. But right now, I do think that there's a lot of reasons to be excited about this team. Again, I talk so much about Cam Ward, what he's brought to the team, what he's brought to the offense, but I think his play really helps the defense as well. And again, the defensive line was expected to be a strength, and I think it's only going to get better. And I think what we're seeing now, you're seeing guys make plays. You saw Tyler Barron have a big game last week, and certainly he's playing confident. Simeon Barrow had a nice sack today. He's a guy that just always seems to be enjoying himself and having a good time. And then, you saw Elijah Alston with a nice interception. So you're seeing guys make plays, and those are guys that they're counting on. This isn't something where, it's a backup kind of jumping in and making play. These are the guys that are expected to be playmakers, and they're absolutely making plays. And I think once Ruben Bain gets back into the mix, teams can't just focus on him because of the abilities of these other guys. And if they are, it's still going to allow the other guys to make plays. And I think as long as they're on the field, they are going to make plays. And I think you're going to see a team that gets after the quarterback, either applying pressure or does good against the run with that front four. It should be a lot of excitement to see from those guys. And then you've got other guys like C.J. Clark. And I do want to mention Akeem Mesidor, because I don't think we've seen the best of what we're going to see out of him in these first 3 games. I think as the season goes along, assuming he's not dealing with any other health injuries or anything like that, I think he's going to be playing better, and I think he's only going to add to what they already have on the defensive line. So when you have a defensive line doing as well as it has the capability of doing, you've got other pieces in place, particularly at linebacker. They like the progress. I do see some progress in Wesley Bissaint in year 3. And then, Francisco Mauigoa. We've not seen like this huge game out of him. I think he's been good, but he's another guy I think that can, as the season goes on, I think he can really make a big impact on this team. Okay, so let's jump back to the offense, because to me, that is the biggest reason to be excited about this team with what they're doing in the passing game. And look, the running game didn't look great today. And I know the numbers by the final results of the game. You saw A.J. Allen with the big run, touchdown run. That was great for him. And then he goes over 100 yards. And the team did have some good rushing totals in the second half as things kind of got out of hand and the backups were in. However, in the first half, only 22 rushing yards, weren't able to get things going. Damian Martinez, a starter, 3 carries, 3 yards, and Cristobal talked about it after the game, and just feels like it was a multitude of different things, and he knows that they need to be able to run the ball better. And he just said that, sometimes it's the holes not being created or guys not hitting the right holes, whatever it might be, they're going to work on that. But I think the biggest thing is, right now, they don't need to lean on their running game. This is a team, and coming into the year, I was very curious what their offensive identity was going to look like, because we hear so much about having that physical running game, being physical up front. And I think maybe they have the possibility to do that, but I think they're at their best clearly with Cam Ward and those 4 main receivers that I always talk about, because I think all 4 of those guys are high caliber guys that they can really rely on, in addition to Elijah Arroyo at the tight end spot. So you have 4 really good options to throw to, and I think it can kind of go up and down. Other than I think Restrepo is going to be very consistent all year long. I think he's even better this year than he was a year ago. We'll see how his numbers play out, but I just think his ability, the things that he's doing, and look, Cam Ward said after the game that things are clicking for them now as a duo, and he really credits a lot of time that they're putting into the film room. And he said that when he's there, Xavier is doing his best to be there whenever he can, and first guy in, that kind of thing, and they're watching film together. And he admits, Kim admits, that him and Xavier weren't always on the same page in fall camp, but they've worked through some things, and we're seeing really positive results these first 3 games. The touchdowns, Xavier got 2 today. He's up to 4, had 6 last year. So anytime a wide receiver can get in the end zone, it's a big deal. And the main reason why I think people should be excited about this team, not just because it's exciting to watch, but this passing game, to me, is going to be very difficult for a team to defend and to stop and slow down. Not that Miami can't lose a game, we've all seen that happen and teams get upset, but it's going to take a lot for an opponent to beat Miami with what they have in the passing attack and Cam Ward leading the way. And that is why I think this is a legitimate top 10 team, because of what they can do on the offensive side of the ball with the passing attack. I feel like the running game, I feel like they do have the ability at the running back spot. So if they can continue to improve, once they get those linemen back in, and look, just a little bit of an update, Jalen Rivers didn't play today. I would expect him back next week at South Florida. Be a tough game there in that environment. I know USF has Miami's attention with how USF played against Alabama. I think Rivers is back in. I do not expect Ryan Rodriguez to play this month. I think it'll continue to be Matt McCoy, assuming the staff likes what they see on film from him. And then also, we saw Inez Cooper go down with an injury early in the second quarter and did not return. Maybe if it was a different opponent, he could have got back in there. Regardless, I do think he has a chance to get back on the field against USF. But based on what Cristobal said, it didn't seem like it was too serious, or at least they're optimistic. But we will definitely see, and we will see how things kind of shape up the next day with an injury like that. So pay attention to that. But I think if they get those guys back, I think they're going to be able to run the ball a little bit better. But again, it's going to be very difficult for teams to contain Cam Ward and the passing attack. And that's why, again, that's why I think they're a top 10 team. That's why I think that they're favorites to win the ACC. Look, to be honest with you, I have already booked my trip to Charlotte, and I have never done that before. I've always wanted to see how the season plays out, but I just think this team is going to be there, and I definitely want to be there to cover it for you guys. So we'll see how it goes, and we'll see how everything plays out. Certainly anything can happen. Things change all the time, but with what I've seen so far on the field, regardless of what I thought, regardless of what everybody thought coming into the year, what I've seen through 3 games, that this team is legit. They're fun to watch. I hope you continue to enjoy them and enjoy watching these guys, and also supporting the channel and InsideTheU.com. So thanks again. I'm looking forward to next week in Tampa. I'll be there. Hopefully I'll see you guys there. And again, I'll get that live stream going once again. All right, take care.